Hey guys, how's it going? Jasensational here. Welcome back to week 3 of the Champion Draft Series. This week we're facing off against Grandparoji, leading the Extrusive Elementals. If you guys are new to CDS, there is a playlist following week by week along the series, as well as an intro video explaining what it is and how it works. So feel free to check that out if you're interested. But let's talk about what his lineup is, what decks he decided to bring, and some thoughts and ideas coming into this week based off of what he brought initially. So just taking a look at Grandparoji's champions, if you are familiar with him as a player, it is screaming a lot of champions and decks archetypes that he is very both comfortable with as well as known with. We see things like the Auction Varus, the Pantheon, the Malphite, right? A lot of these big mid-rangey meatballs that Grandparoji often likes to play. But I think that something interesting that he was able to adapt to in his lineup is looking back at week 2 when he brought Auction Malphite and Fiora. Well, surprise, they're actually Cosmic Call decks. So historically speaking, when Grandparoji is playing his like Targon champions like Malphite, he's pairing with like Talia Malphite, with Pantheon, it's like the Pantheon Fiora. There are these big mid-range decks, but in a pinch, because in this closed environment, when you know what your opponent is likely to play, you have this ability to kind of counter draft and counter react to what your opponent's doing. Now, by the time this video is out, Cosmic Call was indeed nerfed, so there's not really going to be much Cosmic Call anymore moving forward. But because this is a retrospect and this happened on this Monday, so it's looking back in time before the Eternal patch came out. But anyways, that's just something to keep in mind, that although Grandparoji is definitely known for playing mid-range decks, because of how the Champion Draft Series works, he's able to shift some of his mid-range strategies to kind of play a more slow Cosmic Call deck. Now, going into this week, it's pretty much the same, right? That's like the two thoughts. A, is he going to play mid-range? Or B, is he going to play Cosmic Call? Because realistically speaking, there's not a lot else he can do. There's not really any like aggro decks he can bring. And there's nothing really super out of the ordinary that he's able to kind of, or at least from my perspective, like, bring without it being just a bad deck. And the good news is, when I was tasked with coming up with a lineup that, you know, is either good into Cosmic Call or into the mid-range decks that he likes to play, I've noticed that the decks actually kind of fit into both categories, where I can be both good into Cosmic Call and into his mid-range stuff. And the two decks that I'm historically talking about are the Katarina Yasuo, as well as the Galio. So let's talk about Katarina Yasuo first, right? So obviously into mid-range decks, you play units, you have the stuns, which mitigates a lot of the go tall strategies on a lot of the mid-range decks that Grandparoji likes to play. Have recalls to reset buffs, and I'm able to play just big units to help trade. A few notable tech cards that I include in this week in expectation of the decks that Grandparoji wants to play are 2 copies of Thorn of the Rose. The reason why Thorn of the Rose is so good is because of its 5 attack stat line, right? You're playing a mono unit to unit kind of matchup. The health total doesn't really matter, right? So being able to trade 5 attack to potentially 5 health is really good, right? Because I'm getting something out of it, because I get to create a Guile in hand and 1 mana stun into mid-range decks that want to develop into attacks. Very powerful. On a similar note, 2 copies of Trifarian Glory Seeker, a lot for the same reason, right? The kind of decks that Grandparoji likes to play are mid-range decks that like to buff their units. So if you're looking at something like Auction Varus, for example, right? Auction 2 health, Varus 4 health, right? Auction is a very critical unit in keeping alive, but it becomes difficult to protect Auction against a Trifarian Glory Seeker, right? Because you have to buff it 4 health, and that's either A, a lot of resources that it's probably worth it for me overall, or B, they're unable to protect it. And then the Armed Acquisitioner Explorer, it doesn't really need much explanation. Destroy weapons, remove keywords, just overall, just a good card. But a small adaptation on a classic list, normally speaking, very good into mid-range solid. And the reason why it's good into Cosmic Call is in a similar reason where we have the Katarina to pressure our opponents. We get to stack a lot of power with the Fate Blade Twirlers, with Divine Disciples, and get some really big units to rally with. And in the kind of Cosmic Call decks, going back to stuff, look at Auction Malphite. And Down Fiora. These were Targon Allegiance decks, meaning that when it comes to flat out Targon, there's a lot less sort of interaction for Katarina, apart from Hushes and the odd stun. No things like Mystic Shot, Quietus, no like removal, so to speak, that can really deal easily with Katarina. So you get to kind of stack tempo and push forward. So definitely a very, very solid bring. Next one, obviously, being Udyr Galleon. For a similar reason why it's good into Cosmic Call is because you guys get to set up a board, and then your opponent can't interact with you. You play Galio levels, and then you can rally. And the reason why it's good into other mid-range decks is because, well, you get to play Freljord, which is currently speaking probably the best sort of mid-range protection tool region, so to speak. So obvious inclusion of Sky Splitter, it being one of the strongest spells in the game, but also compounded by the fact that because we're playing Galio and the Formidable package, Sky Splitter becomes a lot better, or it's a 2 mana +3/+3 essentially. So extra power in the cheap supportive tools. But overall fairly standard. A small addition this week as well is 2 copies of Mage Seeker Jr. And the reason why this card is so good is either A, into Cosmic Call where they might have a bunch of spells. It's just a fair inclusion. It's a 3 mana 3/3. It's not the worst. Maybe you get to tax their resources a little bit. But very critically, what Grandparoji actually did bring this week is the Auction Varus. And the reason why it's so because of the Swinging Glaive card. Anyone who has played against this kind of deck knows the kind of pressure and sort of value that an Auction Swinging Glaive can generate after not being able to kill it because they have a lot of protection tools. It having a 4 attack and just consistently getting the Lucky Finds to proc the landmark makes the deck very, very snowbally. The reason why it is so good because all of a sudden the Lucky Finds cost 3 mana, and now it's probably even close to negative tempo and even playing it, right? A lot of their protection tools, some momentous choice are 1 mana. When you have to pay 3 mana for them, it becomes very, very awkward. So specific shout out against this matchup. And my third deck this week was Jasensational Glorious Evolution. A little bit of a nod back. I was really pondering what I wanted to play as a third deck because I wanted to be good into Cosmic Call. And then, also good into mid-range. I had a lot of ideas that I could play into mid-range. For example, I was thinking like Janna Karma, maybe like Fizz Lee Sin or some other just Ionia nonsense that could maybe just beat up random mid-range stuff. But there was the off chance that he would bring a full Cosmic Call lineup, and I wouldn't want to sort of risk that. And so I came up with this deck. It's fairly standard. It's a Glorious Evolution deck and just kills you with elusives. If you guys had known this deck in the past, you know how strong it is when it's sort of left unchecked into its own devices. Especially with Acorn, you can play Call it the Glorious Evolution, as early as turn 4, turn 5, and just kill your opponent. It's definitely super, super powerful because Cosmic Call has no real disruption. They play for their own game plan, and so when we're both playing for our own game plans, this kind of trumps, right? It is a little bit soft into mid-range decks, and it's a little bit tricky, but I tacked it with 2 copies of Wallop, which is good against all mid-range stuff. But the reason why I felt comfortable bringing it is because of how strong the high roll potential is. If you get to play Glorious Evolution for 5 or for 8 mana on turn 5, and it resolves, you win the game. And mid-range decks have a pretty hard time killing you by turn 5. That's more of like the aggro territory. So in a high roll situation, I could win regardless of what my opponent is playing as a mid-range style of deck. And so if it came down to needing to play this, like win 1 out of 2 games, I felt pretty. And so Roshi ends up bringing Akshan Varus, Big Zerath, and Talia Malphite, which was honestly a little bit unexpected. I was more leaning towards a Cosmic Call lineup because he knows I like to play Ionia, and Ionia, or the kind of Ionia decks I play are generally kind of decks that are good into his stuff. But he ends up bringing 3 lists. The first one being Akshan Varus deck that I showed. Very standard. William Malphite, also relatively standard. Arath, which is the landmark control-esque deck with Arsenal at the top end. I ended up banning the Talia Malphite. The reason being is I expected have to play Udyr Galio. I expect him to ban the Katarina, did end up doing. And so again, I talked about this last week, but when you know you have to play a deck, say I know I have to play Udyr Galio this week, then you want to ban the deck that you're weakest against of the 3, right? And I think Talia Malphite can be pretty strong because Galio and Malphite are both 7 costs. If he plays a leveled Malphite and I have a leveled Galio, and he stuns my entire board, well, I'm just playing a Demacia deck that can't really deal with that, so I lose the game. Just situationally, I think that this was indeed the strongest deck against its Galio. Whereas this, I'm not super sure. He seems to have a hard time protecting Champion's Quicksand. Only 1 copy of. I have Strike Spells, I have Formidables, I have Challengers. Not super good at interacting with high health units overall. And Akshan Varus, when it comes to beef versus beef, I can scale higher. So I end up banning the Malphite, and oh boy, this week the games were kind of hot. So definitely check them out. I think they're quite fun, albeit a bit short. But this week was really, really awesome. I think that it went well, and excited to see what next week brings. But thank you guys for tuning in. Stick around for the games. I'll see you guys later. Alrighty. It's probably just the Malphite Talia ban. I don't know what he's gonna ban from my side. It's either the Yasuo Katarina or the Udyr Galio. His best matchup in. I'm assuming my worst matchup is the Udyr Galio into the Malphite Talia. If he leaves either of them up. So I just want to lean into the Malphite Talia ban. The issue is this deck. This deck is gonna have a tough time breaking through. But hopefully I either high roll a game or, they low roll, or I draw my anti mid-range tech. Or they don't have deny, we'll see. What do they ban? Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, I'm glad I made the ban I did, because if he did leave up the Udyr Galio, I think the Tillia Malphite matchup was the worst of the three. I shouldn't be super surprised about the Yasuo ban. We'll see. Let's see. All right. I put in 2 copies of Mage Seeker, which are incredible. Mage Seeker Junior. Do I want Gentleman's Duel? I think 3 mana is too expensive for this kind of card. I think something like even Petrified Charger might even be like just meh. But I really want like my really cheap combat tricks. Oh hey, speak of the devil. This card's really good. Because most of their spells are 1 and 2 mana. The issue here is Merciless Hunter, but take the L if that's the case. Okay. I would love to see no Merciless. Can he attack? He can't because of Elixir, right? If I have Elixir with a 7, he can't attack through Elixir, which is huge. We'll see how brave he is. I have 3 Elixirs, I think. Yeah, big. Because now I have Gentleman's Duel in the future. And now with the Mage Seeker down, his buffs cost 3 mana, so that further restricts what he can do. Whether I attack or not, I probably just don't attack. I just sort of build up a board, slam Galio, and win the game. Because once I have Galio, like, I just don't do anything. I play Galio, he levels on the turn, and then I win the game, right? So I have the Gentleman's Duel. All of his spells cost 3 mana, so he can't do anything, right? And then 2 turns later, afterwards, I play Galio, win the game. So this seems like a very good position. As long as we don't as long as we play our hand right. I don't see how we flip up from this spot. God, imagine having a glaive on auction but not being able to attack. That has to be like the worst feeling ever. Even his expanse protection costs 3 mana. Is insane. Fine. But what if he can play expands, I guess. That would suck. If he doesn't have expanse, there's nothing he can do. And I think he just loses the game. He could reattach glaive and attack, but he can't even play the Lucky Find because it costs 3 mana. Oh my god. And there's still the possibility. He's playing around like the Elixir, but like he can only play 1 spell, right? So even if it's a Shapestone, my guy still survives. Or Momentous. Anything you play is my guy still survives and his auction dies. You can play Heedless Resurrection. Get an auction back. Maybe he wants to level the auction. Oh, I guess level. If he Shapestones, levels auctions, it trades. Which is like whatever. That's his entire turn. And then I have Galio on 7. Like, what does he do? I think he just concedes. Okay, but he trades. Like, what does he do from this position? He's so far behind, right? Is this +3 or +2? +2, okay. It'd be good if I knew what the cards in my deck do. Oh my god, he can't play the Relic! Oh, that's big sad. Oh my god, he can't play the Relic. Yes? I'm in no rush. I'm quite literally in no rush. Galio comes down and then I attack CS. I can attack 3 times next turn. Well, I'm on my next attack turn. So I attack with my token, Galio leveled Galio rallies, and then I can CS. My god, that's disgusting. Sorry, buddy. I could swing with Udyr, force out another spell. Basically the same thing. I can attack with this as well, because like forcing out a spell is basically the same thing. It's just 3 mana, right? Like if he wants to momentous, my god, really? Does he have a violent discord? Wait, why does that cost 3? Okay, the anti-synergy. Oopsies. That's funny though. It's like if he has to spend another 3 mana as a spell, it's he just like he can't do anything with this turn. And now it's just like, oh, now you don't get to do anything. Yeah. Tough decision from him on like bans. It's just that possibility of him 2-0ing my Glorious Evolution deck is not to be scoffed at. That's a very real possibility. But this game's an over. Yeah. I just know I didn't know what a third anti-mid-range deck. Could I play Janna Karma? But I had to like cover my Cosmic Call bases too. Tough sort of situation to be in. I think these matchups are very flippy. But me having 2 tries is good. But like even if they're 40-60 matchups, so I have 2 tries, that's my chances are pretty okay. I can high roll one, he can low roll one. I can draw my wallops. He can miss out on deny. I can prank his deny, etc, etc. That's really good. Like if I had a Glorious Evolution in his hand, like whew. I had a spell at least. Lots of blockers is nice. He's attacking on evens, which means that he can't like Auction Glaive swing on 3, which is nice as well. Gip. Wow, nothing. I mean, I shouldn't be afraid, right? God, if I had a Glorious Evolution, man, it would cost so little. And he doesn't even have Auction, so he's low rolling, right? This is good because it destroys landmark. Funny. This is free mana, which is interesting. Because I can discount this, right? Like, if I discount the pass again, oh my god, what is going on? Like, this is just a +2 spell mana, right? Kinda good. How does he have nothing to do? Get rid of that. What good is mercy? God, but like if I had Glorious here, like I could play it. I don't have anything to do next turn, which is really awkward. I might just rip this and see what I hit. Oh, hello. That good. It might be playable. That might just be playable. Because it's just an infinite unit, right? It's just an infinite blocker. Like, what does he do? And then next turn just shell and like if he has a strike spell, he, like maybe he's incentivized to use it now. Cause otherwise I just the Furious Wielder is trapped. This combo is so insane. He just doesn't have another strike spell. And his only strike spell is stuck inside of his how evil. Can I just assume he doesn't have it? Could have a second Merciless, I guess. But I still get my trinket trade value. Ah, unfortunate. But I can just play another Shelf Oak next turn. That's fine. Is there anything that saves this? No, right? I think I just want to steal his momentous choices. Best draw here would be like a time trick. I would like your combat tricks now, please. I don't need that one. Okay, right now I just want to take his combat tricks and just make his hand unplayable. It's like he has a 4-mana Absolver, a 3-mana Momentous. These cards are just not playable. And I'm just gonna beat him down slowly. Might take like 3 turns, but we'll get there eventually. Yeah. I don't know what he does here. Do I even need blockers? Maybe I should just be playing the Otterpuses and pranking this turn. Because when it gets his next attack turn and you just like open attack, wow, things are a little bit up in the air, but man, was this game unplayable for him. This is so funny though. This is absolute like, yeah. Is he playing it just so I can't take it? What's going on? For Varus progress? Oh my gosh. This was just diabolical. The unyielding spirit. Oh my god. Absolutely diabolical. Oh. Poor Roji. I don't think my mana matters because everything's just so discounted anyways. And he doesn't have a way to challenge my Shelf Oak either, unless he draws into like a second. He needs a second, or he needs to have another Varus. Okay. I mean, I don't need this. But, hey. Alright. I was hoping to hit the other Momentous. Like, if this Momentous being 1 mana means it's actually still playable. 3 mana one is teetering. But I really wanted to hit these Momentuses. These 2 cards not getting hit is interesting. They can't be like both champions because he played a Varus spell. It can't be Auction, so maybe there's a 3rd Varus, but I just got unlucky not hitting a card. Kind of interesting. I would love to get the Blockling down, and then next turn if we don't need, like if we don't use these this turn, I can just use lethal or try to. Especially because I have Expanse Protection, I can save myself from like Quicksand. That he doesn't play. Okay. Good to know. and this guy's also invulnerable, so I can just instantly stack this guy, right? So I have what? 1, I have 2. Oh my god, it's buff. So I have 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 5 guaranteed because it's invincible. And then I have 2 more pranks to hit the other Momentous choices, and then I have 2 more elusives for damage, right? I think he's molding. I legitimately think he's molding. Oh my god, Auction. But I do think he's like really upset. I would be upset too. I mean, I can pass, right? He's never able to kill me. But I don't think I need more blockers here. I have an invincible blocker that guarantees me 2 or 3 health. So if he needs to develop, I can just prank and then his hands would be more ruined. Like, he can't play the Shadow Fiend, right? He just has to attack knowing I have another prank. Otherwise, that might just like screw up the rest of his turn. Apestone, okay. If we have to Momentous just to fearsome block, then so be it. But I don't think he can kill me. There's no way he can just like rally. Okay. Yeah, he can't kill me. I can create a fearsome block. And then he's dumped his entire hand. So I'm just gonna kill him. Poor Roji, man. My game also was a little bizarre, but that was only because his game was really, really poor too, right? So sucks for him that he lost to me in this hand. Cause like if he drew normally, I'd have to high roll, right? I would have to high roll. He uses it to trade here. I'm actually kind of sad. You can't play Absolver because he's... Whoa. Wait, why wouldn't he play this? Is Varus not leveling? No, Varus was leveling. Here's as to why he chose not to play it, because now he gives me another copy, right? But I think it was just Doom from... I think it was just Doom, though. What is it? Oh, it was Absolver. Unlucky. Sorry, Reggie. You'll get it next time, though.